Okay. There, your seats. Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to this Town and Community Committee meeting. It's 28th of November, just after 7:30. Agenda item 1 is apologies for absence. Now, I've heard from Councillor Edgerton and also Councillor Hunt, who has been subbed by Councillor Belcher. Are there any names? We're all here. Councillors, commissions, is that right? Just carry it there.
Oh, you said no about the AGM.
Oh, that's right. She did that. Yes, that's right. Okay, so Councillor Hinton will be joining us shortly. Okay, item 2, declarations of interest. Anybody have any declarations of interest on this agenda? Seeing none. Right. Item 3, public participation. I think so. Like to speak? Thank you very much. Okay, item 4 is minutes. So first to approve the minutes of the Town and Community Committee meeting held on the 17th of October. Any comments, corrections? Okay, all those in.
I want to just ask a question. How did the festival, which every public to me is really good. How was the decision on the single-use plastics and also the no petrol generation? How was that implemented? Was it implemented?
Well, with regard to generators, as far as I know, it was implemented with regard, well, in accordance with the rules, which require silent generators. As for single-use plastics, I don't know how that was enforced. Do you know anything? Yeah. Do you have anything?
So we're doing it in the minutes now.
Well, we probably shouldn't, but we are.
Right, okay. Well, it was on the booking forms, which the Association booking forms clearly stated that you perhaps have silent running generators and no single-use plastic. Upon clearing up, there was no plastic toys in the street like in previous year. There always had been. There was all food containers that were cleared off the street were paper, and all forks that were cleared up were wooden. So in respect to that, and in respect to the generators, there were a couple of generators that were noted that were a little bit noisy and a little bit smelly. But unfortunately, we didn't have the manpower or the staff to actually police and go around, and we need more volunteers and more councillors to come on board to actually be there to help police in the event if we want to be turning everybody away. But in general, I would say 98% generators were spot on.
I know it's not quite what you said by a anonymous person from Greenham, who said there were 40.
Oh, I didn't go around and count them. From what I could see, I only noticed a couple that were noisy.
Well, no, there may have been 40 generators, but as long as they were the quiet variety, they were within guidelines. You're saying there were a couple that were noisy.
It was only a couple I noticed that were noisy, but a lot of people didn't have generators.
I went round and only saw 2 that were obviously not the right ones.
And we noted
That's
down
pretty
which
good
days
going.
that was.
And then there was 1 or 2 traders, there was one who got in touch and said they tried to get one, but there just wasn't the supply of them. And so they had to use an alternative one. But you know, that's more the supply and demand than anything.
So one of the entrance to Graves Road was really noisy.
No.
It was far louder than anyone I can ever remember.
Yeah.
It seemed to be, couldn't see which store it was going to because it was a long cable. going.
They're not that.
Was it? I don't know. See. Right,
Yes, I applaud you on trying to do the minutes, councillor.
yeah, should we get back to the actual minutes? Does anyone have any comments or corrections on the actual minutes? I see none of those in favour. Very much. And to note the minutes of the town meeting with held on the 15th of November. I think we can do here somewhere.
I should be in front of you.
Yeah. So we're just noting these, aren't we? We're not approving them, but are there any corrections?
wouldn't be correction, it's whether or not submitting any recommendations.
Right, okay.
There is a recommendation,
Yeah.
a negative one.
The result to recommend that membership is amended to allow the following co-options.
Well, there's two,
And that's that one on page, the last, whatever it is, no page numbers, okay?
interesting.
Yeah, so I just, there's another one over there. That's the same one. Oh, it was fine.
But at the bottom of page 3, there is a resolution on regarding the strategy, and
That's to write to the ICB.
Yeah. but there's also the co-options.
Are they recommendations to this committee?
Mm.
I mean, it's, sorry, that was quite a solution. Are there recommendations coming to this committee, committee needs to approve?
Mm.
Yes,
I suppose the co-options.
item 6 does include that. But can I propose that we accept the notes and approve the recommendation?
Second that. Over. Did you want to speak?
Yes, I don't know the description of it. I was reading today about, now, people are going to be looked after at home. These carers are probably recruited from recruitment agencies. And I was reading today about how badly some of these agencies treat the people who come over from, quite a few come from Africa and from the Far East. If you lose their job, for whatever reason, redundant, or they sack them, they have 60 days to find another job, or their visa comes to an end. So they really are held to rights. And I think we should ask some questions when you talk to Oxfordshire County Council, exactly where are they getting these people who are caring? What sort of companies are? Let's look at their hiring and retainment policies, because from what I was reading today, it's pretty awful. They are pretty much, well, I won't use Theresa May's words of slavery, but it could be bordering on that. And I think we have, particularly the county council, has to be very careful which companies it's, whether it's using, and whether they are complying with the rules, and whether they're paying the minimum wage. And one I read about, she actually gets paid for 6 hours at minimum wage, but she actually has to travel. So she works 12 hours, but gets paid for 6. It's all these sorts of things. And you can't expect people to give over good service if they are resentful because they're not being paid and cared for properly by the organisation. So I think some really, what is it, be curious, isn't that what they say? Yes, as to ask the questions about who the agencies are and are they complying.
You're right, and that should form part of the engagement that we have with the county council, who claim that they have a significant increase in the provision and the capability or capacity of adult social care to provide these care packages and on which the proposals rely. And so, yes, we should be asking about that and making sure that this increase is sustainable. And that we don't treat people as part of a hostile environment. The poor way, in many ways, carers are treated in this country is a poor reflection of us as a country at times. I think we should not treat these people as poorly as they are in some cases. I don't want to say that's true in all cases, but there are many reports that
And if we have concerns, then we can make a big fuss about it.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments? Okay, then we'll move on to agenda item 5, which is the communications manager update, which is on page 9. Hazy, did you have anything to add, or is the report good as it stands? Okay. Any comments, questions? That's a Candia.
Thank you for this and for Christmas breaking in general. It's about the Christmas festival signage. So on the building, we've got some words on investment. Yeah, and I think the wording is wishing you a festive period.
Yeah.
I just wondered if there was a reason why we didn't include the word Christmas.
Their UNESCO sign, so we've got what they wanted to do, that's advantage. It wasn't designed by me, those banners, nor any of the flags or banners, they're all from the companies that are sponsored, and that's what they wanted up on.
Any other comments, councillor?
Just a comment to say, I think all the activities in the festival were very high standard. And I think the people who are involved should be congratulated. But actually, one person I know who happens to be my son said that he's never seen anything as good as this.
I agree, it was the best one I can remember, I think it was so well done. Councillor Cruikshank.
And specifically, Daisy, I think we should thank you for your, I was about to say efforts on the stage, but politically the wrong word. Thanks for the staging of the stage and your comparing and also your singing, which I think was absolutely magnificent. And yeah, when we get to the next report, Paul should come in for a lump of praise, but this is your report and an opportunity for us as a council to actually say, well done, well done. Thank you.
I thought you were going to say that Paul should sing as well.
Well, I've heard Paul sing, so the answer is no.
Thank you very much. And well done also for getting the Visit Any website live. Councillor Hinton.
Evening, Manager.
It was all good stuff. Well done.
Just doing the communications manager of day item 5. Okay. Any other comments?
On the communications?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want them?
Go.
Okay, I'll sit down first. Sorry, I'm a little bit sorry because I come in late and I do apologise for that, but I think that communications has really improved, particularly with Christmas, supporting retailers. I've personally, since I've become mayor, sorry, I'm out of breath as well because I haven't even taken the chain off yet. I found since being mayor a really good working relationship with Daisy, where I'm able to send stuff to Daisy, Daisy sent stuff to me. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say generally, all round, I think that we've improved, and since I've been there, I've seen lots of good work, and I'd like to keep on that trajectory.
Excellent, thank you. Any other comments? I see none. Okay, so we'll move on to agenda item 6, which is the town centre manager update. Do you have anything else to add, Paul, or is it stands?
That's, nothing else to add really. It's,
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any comments or
Just to
questions?
say, what a wonderful, wonderful evening it was on every level. It was just fun. There was so much going on.
Yes.
But I'm really sorry I didn't get round to see all the things that were going on. And to have the reception, it was a great idea. I want to say thank you to people.
That was also the best reception I think I've seen in the town hall. That was
Lovely,
That's
actually.
as well.
Yeah.
Well done on that.
So huge congratulations, as you say, the best adults.
Christopher Higgins seemed to enjoy himself. Any other comments?
Well, I think the sign was decided idea, but a great dog of praise too. I know it was an old team effort, but you deserve praise for leading it and leading it brilliantly successfully as well. Well done. Yeah.
I just wanted to
7.
10.
10. Oh, 10.
Councillor Campbell, sorry.
Okay, sorry. Yes, thank you. I chaperoned my niece around the evening, and she enjoyed visiting the different stores. It's a broader question of will there be a learning review, or will we kind of look at what things went? You know, a lot of things went really well, but some of the things we've already raised tonight about, you know, the monitoring and moderation, the enforcement of the things that we try to set up for the event to be as sustainable and means and this sign generators as possible. Will there be an opportunity
There's normally
for that?
There's normally a wash-up meeting in January, I think, which is when is that
Yeah, it
event
should be.
supplements? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's normally a kind of review in January in the event subcommittee then, once we've had time to download.
Of course, yeah, a lot. It didn't take that long ago, and Would you also involve retailers in that? Because I know there was some shops were open late night, shopping hours, but also some of the stores were in front of some of the shops. So I just wondered if there was any dialogue about how some of those retailer shops felt. That some of the out of town kind of people were coming in and were in front, literally in front of their shops. So I just wondered if you've had any feedback from them, if that was something you're able to obtain. How did the late night shopping element of it, did that increase local trade?
Yeah, I think from the feedback I've had, and specifically from Lawrence Menswear, who we work very closely with, as well as all the other retailers around town, he messaged me and said he'd had the best great night. He'd raised over £1,000 for his charities, which is really what a lot of the shopkeepers do. It's not necessarily about selling the goods, it's about reaching out with the community and residents, stuff like that. So generally, there was another someone who told me that it was the best market day to so there was generally good feedback. But I will put it on the agenda for the next retailers forum, which is also in January, and we'll talk about it in more detail and probably feed that back into either this meeting or the events committee. Actually, it will be on my next report of that meeting.
Yeah.
Town clerk and then councillor Hinton.
It's actually probably something that the events and markets manager is probably itching to say.
To clarify, we write out to all the businesses and we ask them if they're staying open or if they want to put a stall outside their shop. If they're shutting, they tell us they're shutting, we will put a stall outside if we need a space. If they tell us they're open, we don't block it. If they tell us they want to have a stall outside, then they give them free use of that area. Retailers from outside town are allowed to come into town. We find them a space to go and we don't charge them to bring. So if it's someone like far down Reading Road, it's not part of the event, they can come into town and can put a stall somewhere and not charged to do it. So we work with them as best as we can, we ask them a question, if they give us the response, we work with them, if they don't respond to us and don't let us know they're going to be open, then suddenly open, there's nothing we can do about it, but we do ask them.
That's really helpful.
Thank you. Councillor Hinton and then Hoskins.
Yeah, so I was also just like Richard to say that, but also with some of the other things, we do have an events policy. We have a policy with our events for things like single-use plastic, the silent generators and stuff. But there are some things that are out of our control, like peddlers. So with the best will in the world, it's kind of out of our remit as well. So whilst we can tackle some of the problems and go head on about what we do to enforce them, such as the generators, there are some things that are just quite simply out of our control. We try, they hide in areas of the town as well, and they come on the roads. I mean, it's just almost impossible to avoid some things, and we're not the only people that face that problem, and it's the same every year for every town in the country. So if there was if there was a really effective way to stop it, it wouldn't be by now. But it's quite difficult to control those things sort of out of our room.
That's all good.
Just say well done to the town city manager on getting the grant from SFDC for tourism. If you'd like any input, certainly I'd be happy to provide it. I'm sure other people would as well.
Sure. Thank you. We have to spend it by the end of March, so we're looking forward to doing that. That's right. Just one other thing, the grotto that we ran was I don't know, it's the first time we've done it, but it's the first time recently that we've done it under the council's kind of stewardship. And I'm pleased to say we raised £400 for the Children's Centre and the Mayor's Charities. So that will be going to.
And it was fun, wasn't it?
It was fun. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so
And everyone came out buzzing, all the kids came.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it was.
Yeah, very popular event that was. Yeah. Okay, no further comments, so we'll move on to item 7, which is to consider the management accounts, page 13.
Is this actually September 23, or is there an update for October 23?
So 6
It's
months.
September 23.
There isn't an update. To the document.
12 months. Well, it would be 7 months then instead of 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only seven months.
Oh, as in rolling on.
Yeah, it just seems a bit out of date.
Well, the October ones would be, so the October ones would usually be produced by the second or third week in November. So it would have been quite tight to turn it around in this for this one.
Thank you. Any comments on this? Okay, we move on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Item 8 is to consider the 2024-25 budget. Pages 15 to 19.
Unfortunately, it's that it includes every part of the budget except the town and community budget.
Ah, right.
Although having said that, it hasn't changed since the last meeting.
What was the amount,
Here.
for is the amount for Nomad still in the budget line for the youth work that they were doing that was previously under the RNA budget that then got moved to the TNC budget, I believe?
That was for a fixed period, which is finished. So
now would be the time to put it back in if you want it.
yes,
Okay, then I would like to propose that we continue with this or reinstigate a project, the project with Nomad which was £2,000 a year. For them to do outreach youth work, 5 years, £5,000 a year, thank you. £5,000 a year, sorry. And what they would do is they were like a mobile youth outreach. So they would use that for staff and volunteers to go out and meet young people on site, which is normally our land. So Mill Meadows, Freeman's, Masons. They'd see sort of on social media or by talking to the young people already who they have existing mentoring relationships with, where they are, and then they would go to them and they provide a sort of a service before. It's like a deterrent, if you like, it's a preventative measure, as well as really providing valuable service for our young people. I think we've had all the report before. Councillors should be familiar with it because we've done it for a number of years, at least 3. It was previously under the RNA budget because it was something we did with our parks, because we were saying, you know, we can't have CCTV installed in every single outside space that we own. You know, we can't, there are certain things we can't do, but this was something that seemed very cost effective, as well as actually effective. And, you know, if the kids are down and that Red Lion Lawn, they'll go there and things like that. So for that reason, I don't know why we did it for a set period of time, because it's something that's ongoing. Young people, yes, they do grow up, but then new young people come along. And those same problems are still there. They still exist in Henley. In fact, we're seeing sort of an increase in antisocial behaviour, and that's perhaps because we stopped funding it. So I would like to place that in the budget. Please.
Okay, for any particular period or
For,
another 3 years?
yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly what I'd like to.
Right, okay. Would you like to second
I'd
that?
like to second, yes,
Like to speak on it?
I would, yes,
Sure.
yes, I'd like to, well, basically agree with everything that they have said about Nomad. We've supported them in different ways for many years, as long as I've been on this council, and the work they do is great. It's often not very visible, and the effects are often the result of what they do is sometimes that there are things that we don't see. In other words, they prevent, as the mayor was saying, that they prevent things from going wrong, and I strongly support it. In terms of it should go as a budget line, but when we actually authorise the spend, we need to make a decision to go ahead with the spend, which would be, and I think that's a good thing. And one of the reasons we should do it for 3 years rather than indefinitely is that it means that they come along, present, we get to listen to what they're doing, all councillors, especially new councillors, and hear about the work that they do and the value that we get, or handy residents get from putting the money into Nomad and the benefits overall. So yeah, I'm happy to second it. So we continue this for 5 years, but they come and present at a future meeting of this committee, so we can go ahead in the next financial year.
What's called Nomad, that's how it started in the
1996.
Yeah, the residents group started with a work in the square, talking to the young people, and hence it was called Nomad. And then it became linked to DT, so it's sort of right back to its original, still doing its original work, as well as all the other wonderful stuff it does.
Councillor Gavin.
Well, just ask a question. This is in addition, I know, it's in addition to the 10,000 we give anyway.
Yes,
Where does the £10,000 sit? Is that in the TNT budget?
That's in the finance budget.
That's a
That's a finance grant, right, fine.
Okay, thank you.
Just to add, having just found out the information, that in a year, the grants that Nomad get from government, so basically, Henley Town Council, SADC, Oxfordshire County Council and some other minor government grants has halved within a year, so it went from 54 to 27 in the last year, so, and it's because of things like this, but that means the work still kind of has to happen if the money's not there, they can't, so.
Okay, all those in favour of extending the outreach £5,000 a year for 3 years?
But it's adding it to the budget.
Adding it to the budget. sorry.
Adding it to the budget, yeah. Okay, no other comments, questions? Okay, so moving on. Item 9 is the Angel on the Bridge. The committee resolves that the council requests that the Angel on the Bridge take remedial action to reduce the nuisance from the kitchen extractor fan through the installation of ducting. There are some photos which everybody should have. So the offending vent itself is ringed in red, and the sort of path up the side of the building is marked in green where hypothetical ducting might go. Obviously painted in with the colour of the path, so it's not immediately obvious when you look at the building. But 2 or 3 members of the public over the last year have come to me specifically and said, can we do something about that? Now that land next to the Angel on the Bridge that the extractor blows out on is Henley Town Council land, which we lease to the pub for them to store their bins and have parking spaces on. So it would be nice if we could ask them to sort out that extractor.
Yeah, the contract by which we lease it says that they should avoid being a nuisance to the public, and therefore all we're asking really is that the terms of the lease are followed by the Angel Bridge.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Councillor Cowshay.
Is it that we're going to request in a letter, or are we asking Paul to go down another point with Zara and have a chat with him and give him the letter? In other words, the personal touch rather than just a first class stamp.
Would you like to go for a pint at the Angel on the Bridge, Paul?
I'm sure I could do that.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice if we personally do it, that's all. Have a chat and say, here it is, this is the problem. Can they, because it's the, well, it'll be getting paid for it, or it could be any municipal trust.
Has been charities though.
They do.
Yeah.
Charities. So the municipal charities own the buildings. I think they sublet to Breakspear.
Yeah.
Yes.
To a very long lease, yeah.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Councillor Giltrack's absolutely right. Let's just quietly have a word with them.
Yeah. That's fine, okay. Councillor Hinton.
Quietly have a word, but expect it done.
Well,
A Kelly-Ginson quiet.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. What I mean is that, you know, there just need to be a solution here, and I think it benefits them as much as it benefits the people that
Yeah.
walk past.
yes.
I think they don't want to have a messy nuisance vent either. Yeah, absolutely a friendly word, but that's not to say, oh, let's just have a chat about it, forget about it, and then talk about it again in 6 months.
Well, yeah, that's right. We won't forget about it. The clause in the contract, which I've got here, I'll specifically read it. It says, clause 2.10, the trader must not do or permit to be done anything which, in the opinion of the council, may be a nuisance or an annoyance to any member of the public, which it clearly is. So yes, we can force them to do it if we want to, I suppose. But let's be friendly first. Councillor Campbell.
I just wondered if you could also have a quiet rather than about their very, very, very great.
They might have a quiet word with us back, eh?
Call to have 2 pints. Okay. The brightness of the lights. Okay. Right.
I would add to, subject to planning permission as well.
Yes.
Which might be.
Well, we'll leave it to town clerk and the town centre manager to sort this out, I think. But all those in favour of the resolution anyway, it's carried, thank you very much. Item 10, parking. So this is a very long running project which is finally coming to conclusion. We started off, I think, what, about a year and a half ago? It's not, but well, it's not 353.
That's 20 years.
Yeah, so we put the call out on social media about a year and a half ago, suggestions of how to improve parking and visibility around the town. We've got literally dozens of responses from members of the public, most of which have made it through to this final stage, which is really good. And the reason it's such a huge amount of changes is because we save administrative costs by doing all this work at once. So if we were to do this road here, this road there, this road there, it adds up to far more money than a big bang. So several councillors, including myself, went out around the town, walked down every single street, and assessed every request that had been made by members of the public. And the final report is what you see here.
With the exception of marketplace.
With the exceptional marketplace, which is a little bit trickier and will have to be dealt with separately.
What is the decision process?
This will now go to public consultation, won't it?
So this is,
Councillor Gavin.
The process is that OCC have drawn up these plans. There is a 3-month consultation process whereby members of the public and anybody and everybody can make a comment. Then the officers will draw up a report and then it will go in front of the cabinet portfolio holder for roads. And we can at that meeting make representations. And also, if there are any objectors, they can go to the meeting and object to it. And then the cabinet portfolio holder makes a decision, and it's one person making the decision. So you either get it or you don't get it, or there might be a modification of it. So that's the process.
Is that for each one, or is it just?
No,
the whole
it'll
process?
be the whole lot. Be the whole lot.
Which marketplace is in dispute, the limited waiting restrictions or the disabled parking rate?
Neither of those. It's the stretch outside Machin's that we wanted to make short-term parking.
Right,
That's not in this report. That has to be dealt with separately.
right, okay.
To elaborate.
yeah, so it was originally proposed and put into the plans for the one-way section of Marketplace to basically maximise the amount of parking that happens on there, which people already do at the moment. But it's usually full of cars on a daily basis. So the idea was to basically formalise that into short stay parking bays and also a bay for the car club car as well. It didn't make it through to the final document as there is a traffic regulation order on that road to allow emergency services to go against the flow, which means that they need the full width of the road in order to have that. So they haven't been able to put into these documents.
Right.
Did you ever consider one outside Station News by the station? A 20-minute waiting for time over the road. It's just right outside, lay by on the other side, but right outside the shop. But again,
Opposite
right
station
outside Machin's, everybody parks along there and so that, and they do get public from time to time. It's a good wide stretch of road and it could have a time, I mean, everybody does.
It's not like marketplace, there's people doing it anyway. So,
So
Councillor
whether
Carrish,
it's to formalise it.
What happens with all of these processes is that you capture in a particular time, so particular schemes. There will be another one of these coming in probably 6 months' time. And you can only do so much at a time. And like, for example, this scheme has now been published, and in fact, all the residents have been informed of this. And I've had representations to me saying, well, why haven't we got this? Why haven't we got that? Why haven't we got the other? And the only thing I can say is that it wasn't in this particular scheme, but it will maybe be considered in a future scheme in 6 months' time. So
Can I ask who pays for all this? Is it OCCRIs?
the consultation, the consultation will cost £3,000. I don't know who's paying Penny
It's
Town
the
Council.
county council.
The county council are, and the county council will pay for all the paint on the road.
Paying, exactly.
Yes,
Okay, so who, sorry,
Councillor
wait.
Madam Mayor.
So the town clerk, you will respond to this, is that right? On behalf of the town council?
If there is a response,
Okay, so
if the committee does.
if we're in favour, it would be you, okay, then I propose that we delegate this to the town clerk to respond favourably for, on behalf of any town council.
I'll second that. All those in favour? Councillor Hoskins? No, you're just supporting that, are you? Yes. Okay. Councillor Kandaya?
So am I right? So all the proposal here, and as you say, that other people saying, oh, what about this, this and this? The standard response is, you didn't submit it 18 months ago. But if you log it here, it could be considered for the future. Like what is that process? Do they comment on this and say this is helpful to see, but what about X, Y, and Z?
well,
Like-
they comment on this because this is the consultation, so it's this full stop. You can't add anything else into this, because it's just, you can't conduct an open-ended traffic regulation consultation, it's got to be this. Actually, if they are interested in having a scheme for their patch, then I would write into the town hall and it will be logged into a file. Contact, Sheridan or Glenn, and it will be logged in a file for a future review.
And I see that there's a introduction to resident permit holders only. Is that a charge thing? Will that be? Residents presumably have been notified that in order to help them with their parking, they'll then have to pay.
Oh, yes, all of
parking
that.
As,
Yeah,
as
they
it's
will all have been they will all have been given letters explaining exactly what the process is. And it's either 90 or £100 for a resident permit. A resident permit.
I think the rest of the residents' parking that's proposed on Friday Street, that is actually formalising what's currently going on unofficially, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a new,
And it's for residents who've already paid the permits but don't have the space to.
So we're increasing residents' parking on Friday Street. I'm sure that people like
And
it.
the final question
Okay.
is around, how does it impact our air quality?
Cars are parked, so there are no fumes.
well,
I don't know, I just wondered, all these suggestions, is there an implication for the air quality by encouraging more people to come in?
I think there is.
Simply have more parking space in town,
Yeah,
means you're going to have.
yeah. If there are more parking spaces, then people will find a parking space quicker. Therefore, they will park their car and stop their engine and job done. Yes.
Actually, it's worth noting that the majority of the changes in here actually remove parking spaces from the corners of junctions to increase visibility.
That's doing the difference.
Particularly up by Harpston Road, you've got Niagara Road, Boston Road, which are tonal there, so we're clearing.
Those will be displaced to other places.
Yeah.
So, it's not necessarily, well, it is removing the spaces, but it's that there are other spaces that they can park very, very close.
Yeah.
like for example, on the corner of Boston Road and Niagara Road, opposite, there are always spaces available
Mm.
on Hoxton Road. So they just, instead of parking there, they park there.
Marvellous. Any other comments on that?
Might help with the reducing the speed as well, if there's more cars parked there, they won't be able to go down Hartson Road in such a hurry, honestly, crazy. Yeah, anyway, I'm happy to go to a vote. I'll vote it.
We have to vote to approve this. Is it consider?
And for me to respond.
Yeah, I made the vote.
You already voted that.
Oh, we vote for
Yeah,
it.
we voted that. Okay, thank you very much. So moving on to item 11, which is CCTV. It's a pretty extensive report attached.
Yeah,
Any comments?
yes, great to have the reports back.
Yeah. Surprised to learn Henry had more CCTV cameras than Didcot.
Yes. Well, Town council paid for extra, remember?
Oh, yes.
Maybe we care for our residents more, I don't know, I'll ask the mayor.
We
if they've got-
definitely do.
And we do it for less council tax per year.
So the town council pays for it. Who observes it? Who looks at the CCTV?
Oh, sorry, we only pay for 3 extra down at Mill Meadows, it's
Okay.
actually, it's at the Abingdon Police Station.
Okay,
You can actually, normally with a new council term, we can have a CCTV check.
Yes.
So perhaps new councillors and old, I guess, if they haven't been yet, might like to go to CCTV
I've
sometime.
managed to miss every single trip to the monitoring station, so I'd like to go. Town budget.
So we pay for the maintenance and monitoring of the CCTV cameras. But the capital cost is replacing them, upgrading them is paid for by the district council. So we do make a contribution towards the monitoring.
Yeah, we pay all the capital costs of the 3 at Mill Meadows.
Yes.
Hey, do we have any comments? Further comments? I see none. So we'll move along to item 12, which is progress. Quite a few items on here now. So
I'd like to add up to
busy.
Can we add 10? So,
Yes.
unless there's an item on the town steering group. Okay.
There is actually.
There isn't those, I suppose that we have, I'd like to get a short.
Yes, okay, I'll second that. Go ahead.
Okay, you've got the minutes in front of you, of the meeting, and also attached to the minutes was the letter that we sent as a result to the county council and the integrated care board. And one of the results of that was the what was a bit of a standard on Friday last week. From Karen Fuller, who's the OCC Director of Adult Social Care, and Dan Levison, who's the Place Director at the Oxfordshire section of the OCB. Yeah, we didn't get much back from them, but we're continuing to engage with them, and including the leader of the County Council, Liz Lapman. Councillor Gavishak and I actually want to speak at the moment, did appear and present a series of points and questions to the Health and Learning Scrutiny Committee, and slightly to my surprise, we actually got a response from the chair, which was a proposal to put the item of the bed closures across Oxfordshire on the next Health and Learning Scrutiny Committee meeting that's in January. So that's more encouraging than I expected, and several councillors expressed their concern at the closures. Councillor Governor will probably want to talk about the cabinet meeting that's coming up on the 12th of December, which he has a proposal, so I'll leave him to do that. But I've got a letter from the Bell Surgery patient participation group today. They're quite active. Janet Waters, who's the chair, sent me this. I'll just read a couple of sentences from what they have to say, which I think is makes a few very clear points. So she said, we'd like to place on record our absolute objection to the removal of the 7 short stay beds available at Chiltern Court for local patients needing care after discharge from hospital. There's been no communication prior to this decision with the GPs or the local community. We would like to also equally like to place on the fact that the Bell surgery are frustrated and annoyed by the lack of engagement and consultation by the Berks Oxfordshire and Berks ICB about this issue. As a PPG, we have first-hand experience of patients leaving an acute setting and needing support for 2 weeks whilst appropriate resources are put in place. We welcome the additional well-coordinated support, but it's not proven in this area and there is no substitute for the short-stay beds. So it's very clear that they feel that beds are needed, and these are people who are representing the patients at the surgery and the GPs themselves. And so it's clear that the GPs have not been consulted. They're very unhappy at the prospect of losing the beds, which I think, as pretty well everyone knows, they are needed, and there is no evidence to say that those who are not in it, who are not going to be allowed to use the beds in future because they're closed, will need alternative measures which aren't available. And that letter has gone to John Howell, it's come to myself and Councillor Gavashak, and it's also gone to the Henley Standard, to Phil Sims. And I'd just like to pay tribute to the work that Phil has done in researching this work. He's been doing some excellent journalism in respect of trying to find out what the facts are, reporting back to us, taking information from us and putting it in the paper, and it's been getting excellent coverage. And I'd like to thank the Henley Standard and Phil in particular for the work he's done there. It's excellent journalism.
Yeah.
Right, that's it for now. We continue with the battle for, as a minimum, for the justification for the closure of these beds to be provided to us as the community. I think we have a right to do that.
Yeah. Vicky, you've got the Talon's beds to be added to the progress report. Perfect, thank you. Councillor Gavashak.
I'll just say 3 short things. The real injustice in all of this is the complete and utter lack of consultation. That's number one. In all the letters we've had from Liz Leffman, who's the leader of the Liberal Green Alliance at County, and the Cabinet portfolio holder, who's called Tin Reader, they have all said that they don't have to consult on these beds. Now, I think it's absolutely outrageous for a democratic organisation. I mean, if there was a member of the public here who came and actually said, blah, 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 and we said, sorry, we don't have to consult, we just make the decision, so shut up and go away. It's incredibly rude and it's wrong. So what Ian and I want and what the town council wants is for the county council to actually say the reasons why they've done it. That's the thing that we're lacking. We've got, so lack of consultation. The second point is geography. They are refusing to take into account geography. So there are beds in Banbury, Chipping Norton, there are two care homes in Oxford, and there is one in Abingdon, none below Abingdon. And that's got to be clearly wrong on every single level. The other thing that we're digging in, which we really only discovered in the last 2 or 3 weeks, is that had these beds been NHS beds, which they were in 2016 when they were provided with the new hospital. So in 2016, new hospital built, 7 beds or 11, depending on the interpretation, 7 beds were provided and paid for by the NHS for clinical treatment. Now, if those beds are removed by the NHS, there has to be a consultation. Now, in 2019, during COVID, by sleight of hand, and we still haven't been given the papers for it, by sleight of hand, they changed them from NHS beds to Oxfordshire County Council beds. And Oxfordshire County Council are saying we don't have to consult. This is just crazy. So therefore, we are pushing on quite a few fronts, and to pick up on what Councillor Wiseman said, on the 12th of December, which is a full council, it's not cabinet. At full council, I have already tabled the motion which is actually being seconded by the leader of the Conservatives, who are the opposition party, which basically says rethink, etc., etc., etc. I will be asking people to go up. There is a public participation session, so which you can access online through Teams, and again, it's another opportunity for us to make a splash about it. But it's wrong for them to say we're not going to take into account geography. It's absolute stupidity. Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else have any comments on progress?
Yeah.
Councillor Camdire?
Yeah, please, we'll have an update on Thames Water.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
This is the Thames Water.
yeah, apologies, no, the letter still hasn't gone. It would be easy to send a letter very, very quickly, but trying to send something which might actually get a good positive response and send to the right person, and we're still trying to find out exactly where to who to send it to get a good response.
There is the Thames Water Have a Say event, which I have signed up to, and I know you circulated that to all councillors. And so, again, I would encourage anyone to actually register as a public participant, and you do have the opportunity to speak directly to certain representatives of Thames Water. So perhaps that's an opportunity.
What's the date of that again?
30th of November, I think 5:30.
Councillor Camdire?
Just to say, I had a fairly high level meeting with Thames Water about a week and a half ago. It was primarily about the roadworks in the town. And it was actually very productive. It was with the publicity manager, and also via a mobile phone, the operations manager. And basically I said that whenever you're trying to stop any roadworks in the main roads of Henley, then you think twice. You start and get them done overnight if you can. And if you're going to set up traffic lights in Duke Street, it has a knock-on effect all the way up the Fair Mile. And the traffic lights should be manned at all time, or personed at all time, if that's the correct word. I apologise. Could be personed at all time, so that you make sure that the traffic flows through. And when the repair is done, get in and out as quick as you possibly can. We're going to have emergency repairs, but they've got to do them sensibly and quickly. The other thing I wandered into was the Henley Sewerage Works, and I was offered, and if you email me, I was offered, don't all rush in the stampede. I was offered a visit to the Henley Sewerage Works to discuss all of the issues. It's for 5 or 6 people total. So if you wish to attend, then
Where is that?
you can either it'll be towards the end of January. Yeah. Just beyond Swiss Farm.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So if you, anyone interested?
Yeah, definitely.
Kelly?
Absolutely.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and we'll pause at that. And if anyone from the other committees want to come on board, then they can, and I'll let you know the date. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Camdire?
Thank you so much for that update. So, just
I'll
Yeah.
get the contact. details.
great. And Councillor Gadget, did you ask them why there were so many happening in the town council? Did they give an explanation? Because it's just continual.
Well, and there will be, because there's been lack of investment in the infrastructure all over the country. Therefore, there are breakages popping up all over the place. And you're right. Sometimes people say, well, they repaired here, and then there's another. Well, the reason is it's a pipe. It was broken there, and then
Pressure it pushes through and breaks down.
20 metres down the road, it breaks. It's old infrastructure. We're going to have this for years and years and years. There will be repairs. They will have to be repairs, and but the point is, they come into the town, especially in the middle of the town, and repair it quickly and get out. Yeah, that's the important thing. So unfortunately, it's old infrastructure, therefore it will happen. Sorry, thank you.
Seeing no further.
On the other part of the
Yeah.
repair cafe, we managed to make any progress on that. I'd really like to see, we got so close, as I understand it, before COVID. And obviously that set it back, perhaps to square one. Is there any progress or?
No, not as such with everything that's been going on.
Yeah, I realise
But, my last contact with the idea of Stuart Turner potentially hosting it there. I proposed it to them, haven't heard back from them. I'll pick it up as soon as I probably next month, I think, we'll try and pursue them on that.
Okay, thank you. I've got one question of my own, actually. This is on the graffiti, Councillor Gavashan. It says that OCC were chased at the end of August. Did we get any response at all on that?
I thought I had given a response. I don't know whether it was the last meeting. That Oxfordshire County Council are talking to Wokingham with a view to early January putting in a planning permission for a scheme for repairing the whole bridge, and the removal of the graffiti will be part of that.
Okay.
But it will repair all the cosmetic repairs for the bridge, and also the pavement on the left. So it's I would hope January, February that we get a big scheme that is put to Wokingham and SODC for permission to get on and do it.
Perfect.
So I hope we're going to have progress. I hope.
So we can update it.
And that update, yes.
Thank you very much. Anybody else before we move on? Seeing none, okay. So the last item, which is number 13, is the police. So police report, back of the agenda, page 59. Madam Mayor.
Just wanted to highlight the sentence, second up from the bottom, and why, just reiterate why it was a really good decision to put this money into NOMAD, because they say their current priorities for the neighbourhood team remains violence against women, domestic abuse and knife crime. Charities like NOMAD are working to help educate young people against things like knife crime and the people that come into this town from outside with such weapons, but also they work with whole families. So I read that and I liked why we need services like NOMAD in the town, as well as the police working collaboratively with people like us, helping to fund them to make sure that people are safe and well.
Councillor Hoskins, then Dodds, sorry.
What does the last sentence mean? Talk about a nighttime economy operation.
So some of the nighttime antisocial behaviour has been like loitering around certain areas, and just being a bit boisterous and loud. I don't know what the economy part means, but that's the antisocial behaviour that I've seen. There's also been a little bit of extra graffiti in some areas.
So is this something that's new? Or is it just more intensive?
I mean, it's been a problem as far as I've ever been alive.
I think nighttime economy just refers to nighttime
Drinking and
hospitality venues and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what they call it in the CCTV
That's
report as well.
And they just kind of focus on these areas of this.
Yeah.
In the summer.
there will be a lot of drunks and Christmas party as well, that kind of thing. There will be, and that trusty guy that's always on the Reading Road. I think he's actually referred to in the report, so hang on, let me see.
He's a male,
Yeah.
Henley male.
Yeah, I wouldn't class him as a Henley male because he's not from Henley, but certainly spends his time there.
I'm surprised there wasn't mention of the boxes that were stolen, the poppy boxes.
Yes.
There were 6 around the town, and I was talking to Claire on Friday evening, and I think they have a good idea who it was. So that's the benefit of neighbourhood policing, really. whether any action will follow, but, we don't have a good idea what it is, so they might chat. But I was surprised that there was no mention, because it caused quite a lot of upset
Yes.
in the town, certainly did in the centre. People were really upset that they put their money in the box and someone walked in and spilled that on the property.
The CCTV footage from Christchurch Centre was really clear. Someone will know exactly who that is.
Yeah, and they were very angry, and these were the people who fought in the Second World War and produced the democracy and the lifestyle that we live today, and some young person has stolen their money.
Yeah, it's just disgusting.
It's a horrible thing.
Yeah, any other comments from the police report? I'm going to see none. Therefore, meeting closed. Thank you very much.